Okay, uh, so today let's talk about what is hydrology and what are the different components of hydrology. So, first of all, before going into the matter, let me tell you something that hydrology is a vast area and we are just looking into just the basics of hydrology. So, first of all, what is hydrology? Hydrology is a branch of science which deals with the occurrence, distribution, and movement of water on the Earth's surface and as well as below the Earth's surface. See, we all know that water occurs in the atmosphere mainly in the forms of vapor, water, and snow, and below the Earth's surface as groundwater. So, the total water supply on the Earth's surface will be constant. It will circulate from either from Earth to atmosphere and vice versa. So, this circulatory system of water is hydrological cycle. So, uh, as I said, hydrology it is a science which deals with the occurrence, distribution, and movement of water on the Earth's surface and as well as below the Earth's surface. And just remember that we cannot create water and we cannot eliminate water. Water will be present in our earth either in the form of a vapor or a liquid like snow and rainfall. And this circulatory movement of water on the earth is known as hydrological cycle. So in this picture, you can see that See, in this picture, uh, there are many terms like evapotranspiration, evaporation, condensation, snow melt and runoff, infiltration, precipitation, and I'm sure you know the what is evaporation and transpiration and condensation. Maybe some of you may know what is precipitation also. So so first, let's see. A circle doesn't have any starting point and an ending point. To explain, I will start with ocean. Water is present in ocean in liquid form, and this liquid water get evaporated by the presence of heat, and that means water move transfer from liquid to vapor, either from the Earth's surface and also from the plant plants' leaf surfaces. In photosynthesis, there's a transpiration. The water present in the tree e- emits through the pores of tree leaves. So that is transpiration, and the term evapotranspiration means evaporation and transpiration. So the water molecules which evaporated from the Earth's surface move to the atmosphere and they form a cloud there. I mean, air particles will get air particles will get condensated there. After this condensation, water will fall down to the Earth's surface in the form of precipitation. And precipitation can be of uh, two types, that is either liquid precipitation and frozen precipitation. Any fall of moisture from atmosphere to earth is known as precipitation, and there are two types of precipitation. One is liquid precipitation and second one is frozen precipitation. Rainfall is an example for liquid precipitation, and snow or hail is a example for frozen precipitation. In the picture you can see different types of precipitation. As I said, evaporation means the water from the surface of streams or lakes or rivers gets evaporated as vapors and carried by the air in the form of clouds. And transpiration is the process of water being lost from the leaves of the tree from their pores. So the total evaporation consists of surface evaporation, water surface evaporation, and the atmospheric evaporation. As I said earlier, evapotranspiration is a term which combines both evaporation and transpiration, the sum of water evaporation and transpiration from a surface area to the atmosphere. Evaporation accounts for the movement of water to the air from the sources of such as soil and soil and water bodies. So in hydrological cycle, we seen few words like precipitation, runoff, infiltration, and all. So rainfall precipitation is over. Now we will look into what is runoff. And runoff can be defined as a portion of precipitation which is not evaporated. See, when the rain falls down to the earth's surface, a part of it gets evaporated and the remaining ones are available as runoff, which ultimately runs to the sea through streams and rivers. And this runoff can be classified into three types. That is, first one is surface runoff, second one is subsurface runoff, and the third one is groundwater flow. Surface runoff is that water which flows on the surface of the land, and this is the first one to reach the streams and rivers and finally to the sea. And the subsurface runoff is a portion of precipitation that infiltrates into the surface soil as per the geological characteristics of the basin, uh, and uh, and it reaches the streams and rivers. Ultimately, it will end in sea. And the last one is groundwater flow. This is the portion of precipitation which, after infiltrating, it percolates down and it will join the groundwater table and recharge the groundwater underground aquifers. In this diagram, you can see the classification of runoff: surface runoff, this one, surface runoff, and the interflow or subsurface runoff, this one, and the last one, groundwater flow. See, precipitation, we can say that the precipitation is the sum of evaporation and runoff. That's how the hydrological cycle is being maintained. Now let's look deep into what is rainfall. So as I said earlier, rainfall is a natural process in which the vapor in the atmosphere changes into water. The rainfall occurs when the capacity of an air mass to hold the vapor exceeds for the following reasons as: first one, hot air has a high capacity to hold the vapor particles under suspension, and when the air gets cooled, the capacity of air mass to hold the vapor particles is much reduced and the precipitates in the form of water drops. And at times, variations of pressure can also bring down the changes from the state of vapor to rainfall. Now let's see how the rainfall expressed. Rainfall can be expressed as centimeters or millimeter. Next topic is measurement of rainfall. See, the instrument which is used for measuring the rainfall amount is known as rain gauges, and the rain gauges are of two types, that is non-automatic type and non-recording type. Uh, Sorry, rain gauges can be of two types, that is non-automatic type and automatic type. The non-automatic type is also known as non-recording type, and the automatic type is also known as recording type. In non-automatic type, there is only one type of rain gauge, that is Simon's rain gauge. So if you come across a question about write about describe about non-automatic rain gauge, you have only one option, that is Simon's rain gauge. And in automatic rain gauges, you have three options, that is vane bucket method, tipping bucket, and flow type. And now we will see each one by one: what is Simon's and what is vane bucket, what is tipping bucket, and what is flow type, and how they are different from each other. This picture shows the Simon's rain gauge. Say, these dimensions are important. The base is 210 mm, and in top there is a funnel which is 127 mm. We need to first place this non-recording type rain gauge over a platform, that is shown as base in the base in the diagram. See, it consists of a funnel and a cylindrical zinc bottle. The diameter of the bottle and the top of the funnel is 127 mm. The funnel is fitted in the bottle neck. Both are then placed in a metal casing. The base of a metal casing is enlarged to 210 mm. The capacity of bottle is such as to collect the rainfall likely to occur in 24 hours. The gauge is provided with a graduated jar which measures the water in mm. The smallest division in the jar is 0.2 mm. So now let's see what is the installation. Now the points which you need to remember is: what is the dimension of the bottle and the top of the funnel, and what is the metal casing, what is the dimension of metal casing, and how many hours duration is being collected in it. Sorry, and what is the capacity of the bottle. So these 3 points you need to remember. Now we will see what is the installation. At the site where the rainfall is to be measured, a concrete block of cubical shape of 60 centimeter size is constructed. The casing is fixed in the block permanently in such a way that the top of the casing is about 30 centimeter above the natural surface level. While fixing the gauge, we need to take certain precautions that it is perfectly leveled with the top of the funnel, else it will collapse. The measurements are taken in Siemens rain gauge every day at 8:30 p.m. In case of rainfall, it is measured for more times and is recorded as the total rainfall of the day. Now we will see what are the points to be observed while fixing a site for rain gauge station. The first one is the rain gauge should be set up in an open place by at least 30 meters away from any obstructions, and the rain gauge should not be set up on any top of the hill. If it is possible, if it is not possible to find any level surface, then the site should be properly shielded from gusty winds. And last, a fence should be erected to protect the gauge from any cattle and all. Now, let's see what is floor type. Say, this is a diagram of floor type rain gauge. In floor type rain gauge, there is a funnel rotating a drum, there is a float, and there is a float rod which connects the float to the pen carrier. As soon as this pen carrier carries a pen which moves up and down on a graph paper fixed to the rotating drum. It consists of a siphon, and as such, this type of rain gauges is called as siphon rain gauge. This is also called as siphon rain gauge. The drum rotates around the vertical axis once in 24 hours. So when rainfall water enters into the box, it raises the float by a suitable mechanism, and it causes the movement of the pen on a revolving chart. The pen will mark a line on the graph, and the inclination of the line will depend upon the movement of the float, which again depend upon the intensity of rainfall. When the float reaches up to a certain level, siphoning action starts and the box is emptied quickly. The and the final result, that's a graph, and the graph which obtained is called as mass curve of rainfall. Now, let's see what are the information which we can collect from a floor type rain gauge. The first one is duration of rainfall, and second one is intensity of rainfall, and third one is total amount of rainfall. As I said, in floor type rainfall, we as end result we can get a graph, and this graph is a plot between intensity of rainfall and a time duration. So from that we can even calculate the total amount of rainfall. The second one, next topics, what are the factors affecting the rainfall? The height of the place above the sea level, nearness to the forest, nearness to sea, direction of the wind. Those are the factors affecting rainfall. Now we will see what is weighing bucket. Weighing bucket type of rain gauge is the most common self-recording rain gauge. It consists of a receiver bucket supported by a spring balance or a lever balance or some other weighing mechanism. The movement of bucket due to its increasing weight. When the rainfall falls, the bucket weight will increase, and this increasing weight is transmitted to a pen, and this pen will trace it and record it in a chart. And the weighing bucket type rain gauge instruments gives us a plot of the accumulated rainfall values. Accumulated rainfall values means increased rainfall values against the time, and the curve so formed is called as mass curve. So we can say that mass curve is a graph between intensity of rainfall and time duration. And the last type of rain gauge is tipping bucket type. In this type, a pair of tipping buckets are placed below the funnel. The bucket gets filled up by 0.25 mm of rainfall. As soon as the bucket gets filled up by 0.25 mm of rainfall, it immediately tips and empties the water into a chamber which is located below the surface, below the funnel. At the very instant other bucket comes below the funnel to receive the rainwater, the tipping of the bucket activates an electrical circuit which moves a pointer to register the rainfall on a graph, and the water collected in the chamber below could also be measured by a measuring jar. See, rainfall records. Uh, for the number of rain gauges which are situated in a catchment basin is mostly depend upon the area, and in if it is less than 125 kilometers square, we need one rain gauge station. If it's between 125 to 250, we need two rain gauge station. 250 to 500 kilometers square, three rain gauge station, and if it is 500 to 1000, we need four rain gauges. A rainfall is measured at every 24 hours interval, sharply around 8 to 8:30 a.m. Indian Standard Time, and the total rainfall occurred in the past 24 hours means uh, it occurs 8 hours of the same day and 16 hours of the previous day, and the record can be maintained daily base or monthly base or yearly basis. Now, what are the uses of rainfall records? The rainfall records are used to calculate the runoff, to predict the floods, and to study the trend of rainfall, and also to determine the water requirement of crops. So, by this, we can conclude today's section. And today we have seen what is hydrology and what is hydrological cycle and what are the components of hydrological cycle. In hydrological cycle, mainly there is three components, which is precipitation, rainfall, and infiltration. And we have seen what are the forms of precipitation and what is the mechanism between precipitation, and what is the method to represent rainfall, and what are the methods used to measure rainfall. And in next class we can look what is runoff and what are the methods used to calculate runoff and all. Okay, thank you.